Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard, presented by RDSC. And I am your host, Michael Lyons. And like I've been saying the last 2 weeks, today is the day for my awards ballot to be put out into the universe. Um, Awards pretty much already written up. Obviously, Luca and Kate Cunningham are eligible for the awards because of the 65 game requirement, them filling out a paper or whatever it was to be eligible. So they are eligible for this list, but guys like Anthony Edwards are not. But we are going to get into that in just a second. And then at the end of the show, we're going to talk about the play-in reactions, what's going to happen tonight, and then some players to watch out for in the first round of the playoffs that could be difference makers for their team. So starting it off with the awards ballot, I'm going to start off with the biggest award, which is the MVP award. I did my third place, second place, and first place vote for every single award. Starting off with MVP, third place, I have Victor Wembanyama. Now, Victor Wembanyama, again, the greatest defender in the NBA, one of the greatest defenders we've ever seen in the history of basketball. He is a great player. No discrediting that. He is 100% a great player. That's why he's top three in MVP only in his third season. The only reason why I placed him below the guys that are above him is I think the offensive output by the guys above him are just so astronomical that the defense that Wemby puts out, which it is as well on that same kind of level, at the end of the day, good offense beats good defense no matter what. So I went with the offensive style guys a little bit more. Wemby still won an award. Don't worry about that. He still got his award this year. Um, But Victor Wembanyama, second seed in the Western Conference, San Antonio Spurs. I know people are talking like, I mean, last year they were out of the play-in. The year before that, they were like a 20 win team. Yeah, Victor Wembanyama playing all games. Well, not all games, but 64 of the 82 games does make it a big uh, boost in this team, but I don't believe it's all entirely on Victor Wembanyama and why this team is the two seed. He plays a huge part in it. I'm not going to discredit him whatsoever. But I do think the offseason they had, bringing in De'Aaron Fox last year, bringing in Luke Cornett this offseason, bringing in Carter Bryant, and who else did they bring in? Um, Dylan Harper, obviously in the draft. They had a great offseason, and I think it was just putting it all together, honestly. Like last year we saw Mitch Johnson came in early on in the season because Pop went down, had to be forced away from the team due to medical issues, and now this is like Mitch Johnson had a full off season. He had a full year of just coaching a team the way he wants to coach the team, not with like the slight idea that maybe Greg Pop could be back for this team. So there was no distractions this year for this San Antonio Spurs team. And I mean, they did beat the Thunder. They are the only team that's really shown that the Thunder are vulnerable. Um, and it's in large part due to Victor Wembanyama, but he ended up as my third place vote. He will be here in this conversation for many years to come. I have no way of not thinking that he will not. Second place vote went with Nikola Jokic. Jokic, another dominant offensive year from the best offensive player we've probably ever seen in basketball. And again, second player ever in NBA history to average a triple double in multiple seasons. Nikola Jokic is a beast. There's no denying it. There's just the only reason why I put the guy at one, which everybody knows is SGA, SGA MVP, three-letter name, three-letter award. It just makes sense. Shea is just the most consistent player in basketball, and it's not even close, really. Shea is consistently, I mean, he hasn't scored less than 20 points all season long. He doesn't turn the ball over. His assist to turnover ratio is super incredible for such a high usage percentage. He shoots like 60% on twos, which is higher than Victor Wembanyama. A 6'6" guard is shooting better inside the three-point line than a 7'5" center. A little crazy to think about that, but Nikola Jokic, great offensive machine that he is, really leading this Denver Nuggets team back once he really got back into game shape after his injury. But Shea, he's just been too consistent all season long. He won the MVP last year. I picked him last year. I'm picking him again this year. I truly believe this man is the MVP. Best player in the world on the best team in the world. There's just no way I cannot give it to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Next up, moving on to Defensive Player of the Year. At my third place vote, I went with Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, I truly think, is probably the second best defender in the NBA, in my opinion. I know I gave him the third place vote, but I do think he's the second best defender in the entire NBA. The size, the athleticism, the IQ on the defensive side of the ball, he can guard 1 through 5, which is something that only a handful of guys can do in the NBA, especially when you're a 6'10" forward that's not super fast, but he's strong, he's lengthy, he has some explosive steps. So his top end speed not might not be as high as some guards, but the explosiveness from Scotty Barnes is superb. He averaged 2.3 defensive box plus minus and 4.5 defensive win shares this year. So again, it was an incredible year for Scotty. Toronto, fifth seed in the East, in large part due to their defense, which I will just give it to them. They're just a great defensive core as a whole, honestly. One of the best in the Eastern Conference. So Scotty gets a little bit overshadowed. I think when we talk about later them playing the Knicks, I truly think that Scotty Barnes is going to be the best player on the court in this series. Or they played Cleveland, sorry. Cleveland in the first round. I truly think Scotty Barnes is going to be the best player on the court in this entire series. I don't think the Toronto Raptors are going to win that series against Cleveland, but I do think Scotty will show who Scotty Barnes is in his first real playoff experience. And defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball, Scotty's just an incredible all-around player. I gave him the third place vote in Defense Player of the Year. It was really between him or Rudy Gobert. Rudy, we all know what we're expecting from Rudy, and really he's only one-dimensional on the defensive side of the ball, so I just leaned in the way of Scotty Barnes just because I like the versatility of a defender. I like the versatility of players, and all the guys in the Defense Player of the Year list can really guard 1 through 5. Some of them better than others, but yeah, Scotty Barnes is the third place vote. Second place vote, Chet Holmgren. Chet, he's been a beast all season long inside the paint for one of the best defensive teams in the entire NBA. He does his thing. Actually, the best team in the NBA. I was gonna say that at first, but I had to check, so I gave him the one of the best. OKC's the best defensive team in basketball, in a large part due to Chet Holmgren. Yes, they have elite defenders at pretty much every single position, especially on the perimeter, but the fact that they are able to take as many risks as they are to press out so high, to go for long steals, long rebounds, just to force turnovers, get in transition, that's in large part to how much they trust Chet Holmgren on the backside, protecting the paint, which I think is incredible to watch this Oklahoma City Thunder team, and I think is kind of overshadowed with how good Casey Wallace, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams when he's on the floor, Shea even. This OKC Thunder team has no slouches on the defensive end. And I know people like to clown Chet Holmgren because he's not Victor Wembanyama and they have this whole rivalry thing, but I truly think Chet is the second best rim protector in the entire NBA behind Victor Wembanyama, and it does help that he is on the best defensive team in the league, but he's also on the best defensive team in the league, part in due part to him. So shout out to um Chet. He had a dominant year. Finally, his first year that he was truly healthy. And we get to see that he's second place in Defense Player of the Year. Most likely will probably never win Defense Player of the Year as long as this guy always is healthy. And that number one place vote goes to drumroll Victor Wembanyama. I mean, was there any idea that it wasn't going to be Victor Wembanyama? No. I mean, the dude's an alien. He covers so much ground, and every time I watch Victor Wembanyama, I get I get I get baffled on the things that he can do on the defensive side of the ball because we've just never seen it before. Like genuinely, we've never seen it before. I watched Dwight Howard. He was a beast on the defensive end, four-time defensive player of the year, but he is was never doing the things that Victor Wembanyama was doing. The fact that this dude can block a shot at the three-point line, then get back in recovery to block a dunk at the rim is insane. The length, the athleticism, the speed, everything about Victor Wembanyama is just screams incredible defender. So just got to give him the defense play of the year. Arguably should have won it last year, even with only playing 46 games. Excuse me. And then should have probably won it in his rookie year if it wasn't for Rudy Gobert having a dominant defensive year. San Antonio, they're still a good defensive team, but they're not the best behind OKC, behind Detroit, behind Boston. So they're kind of like a top 10-ish team in defensive stats, but man, there's no better defender in the world than Victor Wembanyama. So had to just give him his award. This award eventually is going to be named the Victor Wembanyama Defensive Player of the Year award. I think it's the Hakeem Olajuwon award right now. I could be mistaken, but eventually it'll be the Victor Wembanyama award. Next up, moving on to let's go six man of the year. This one was difficult because I didn't. There truly wasn't like a guy that like really stood out to me, honestly. Um, so this one, I'm just gonna be honest. This award, Rookie of the Year and Coach of the Year, were the toughest awards in my opinion to pick. This one, due in part to there just weren't like some excellent choices. So I kind of went with what I prefer a little bit more from a six man. Third place vote goes to Naz Reid. As long as Naz Reid's coming off the bench for a team, he's always going to be in six man of the year conversations. Does a little bit of everything on the offensive end. Gives you some great scoring from the size and positioning that he is at. Good playmaker, good defender as well. Nasri is he's kind of just that six man of the year kind of guy that you want on any strong team in the NBA, and he fits in perfectly with Minnesota. Honestly, Io probably could have been in this conversation as well, but I did go with Naz Reid at the three spot. At the two spot, I went with Jaime Jaquez Jr. Shout out to Elias, Heat fan. I know he's gonna probably wishes that Jaime could win this award, but in my opinion, Jaime, I believe he leads the league in points off the bench and points per game off the bench. He had a tremendous bounce back year. His rookie year, he was excellent. Last year, he was kind of in and out of the lineup. He really thrived in Eric Spoelstra rebuilding this offensive unit for Miami and kind of doing this fast-paced, shoot-at-will kind of team with Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Bam, all these guys. And Jaime just fit in perfectly with this team. And he was showing out all season long. I think he averaged like 15, 16 points per game off the bench. But he does fall to the second place vote, in my opinion, because I went with a guy on one of the top teams in the league. My number one place vote in the Six Man of the Year award goes to Keldon Johnson. Like I said with Scotty Barnes and with Nas Reed. I love a player that can just do a little bit of everything. Keldon Johnson has done that for this San Antonio Spurs team all season long. Great defender off the bench, can get you timely buckets whenever you need them. Efficient, good playmaker. He's just all around a good basketball player, and he could start on a lot of teams in the NBA, but he fits perfectly coming off the bench with this San Antonio Spurs team. He gives them a boost of energy. He's going to be a huge player in the playoffs for this San Antonio Spurs team, making a run down the stretch of the season um, into the conference finals, maybe even the finals in the second round, wherever they get to. Keldon Johnson's gonna leave his imprint on the game, and I love Keldon Johnson just the way that he's been a professional. I believe that being a professional in the NBA gets you awards. And Keldon used to be a 20 point per game scorer in the NBA, has now fallen into a six-man role, and he's bought into it. That's exactly what I love from a six man. And that's why I gave the first place vote to Keldon Johnson. Now moving on to Rookie of the Year. This one, like I said, was one of the hardest ones to pick because the first and second place vote for this year are so close, in my opinion. I would not be surprised when the award ballot actually comes out for the people that have votes if this is not like almost a split because both of these guys had an excellent year. Starting off with the third place vote though, went with VJ Edgecombe. This team is in the playoffs now, large part due to his play early on in the season and consistently. He's been great all season long, but early on in the season, it looked like VJ was going to be like, oh, VJ might come out and be the guy that could maybe steal this award from Cooper Flagg, which everybody just thought was going to be just his award to lose. Which, spoiler alert, he did not lose. But VJ, shout out to him. Great, excellent year. Scoring wise, he was efficient. He's also bought into kind of a primary perimeter defender against some star players. Saw him check in Desmond Bain in their game against the Magic a couple nights ago. Obviously, Desmond Bain was torching the Sixers, but Sixers ended up winning that game. He has his highlights, that dunk he had on Jalen Suggs where he got a tech. But yeah, VJ just had an excellent year. Sucks that it's really just a conversation between the top two guys. And moving on to that, the second place vote, I went with Con Knipple. A week ago, I was talking to Elias, and I still wasn't really sure on who I wanted to go with. The only reason why I went with Khan at the second place vote is the last 10 to 15 games of the season. He wasn't the Khan Knipple we saw the first 70, 80 or 70, 60 to 70 games of the season. So Khan kind of ending the season on a sour note a little bit more. He was still excellent, honestly. Like for a rookie, they hit that rookie wall eventually. He kind of hit it a little bit later in the season, whereas Cooper just kind of felt like he never hit that wall. Which spoiler alert, Cooper Flagg is my first place vote. They both were breaking records. Con Knipple led the league in three pointers made. First fastest player to 100 made threes, 200 made threes. I believe 250 made threes as well. Led the league in 3 point shooting. But Cooper Flag, he had a generational year, which I think is also a little bit different. Like we just saw Keegan Murray set the rookie 3 point record a couple years ago, and now Khan just like 3 or 4 years later has broken it. So I think in a couple years somebody else will break it. Uh, Whereas Cooper Flag's award records that he was breaking, it's going to be a while before we see another guy come in and break the records that Cooper Flag did this year. Um, Youngest player to ever score 50 points in a game, I believe. He was breaking LeBron rookie records, Kobe rookie records, teenage records. This man he was excellent all season long. I believe he was the first rookie to ever lead his team in points, rebounds, assists. probably blocks and rebounds too, or blocks and steals too. Cooper Flag was insane this year. He definitely is a generational talent. I'll take back what I said early on, where I viewed Cooper Flag as maybe a one-time All-Star. I will be 100% honest. I was 100% wrong on that. Cooper Flag is he's going to be a problem for years to come. And Dallas, don't want to bring this back up, but you do have something to look forward to despite losing Luka Doncic last year. But this award was insanely difficult to pick from. I truly think Cooper and Khan both deserve the award. It kind of just comes down to preference. Do you want the team that made the play in? And Khan Knippel was a huge part in that possibility of making the playoffs tonight, or you're going with the guy that like is a generational talent. Whatever happens with the award um, picks, I do think Cooper Flag is going to have a better career than Con Knipple, but that has nothing to do with Con Knipple being bad or just being like a 1 year kind of guy. Nah, Con's gonna be a dog in the NBA for years to come. Cooper Flag is just a different animal. Moving on to MIP. This award was also a little difficult, not entirely for me, but starting off with the third place vote, I went with Denny Avdia. I know he's the best player available for what you're looking at for the MIP. It's really between him or Jalen Johnson. I personally don't have Jalen Johnson on my list. It was between Jalen and Denny who was going to get the third place vote. I went with Denny just because he all star. I will admit that playing game, it did skew me a little bit. I did set my list prior to the playing games. I want to preface that so none of the playing games had anything to change my list at all. Con Knipple shooting 0 for 6 from the 3-point line was not like, oh, that's why he's the second place vote below Cooper Flag. No, I had this list set before. Denny Avdia, I think the reason why I put him in the third place category is we saw this run from him at the end of last year with Portland. So I think we kind of got a little bit used to that. It's not like he was coming out this year and just instantly being like, whoa, this guy is on a different level. We kind of saw it last year a little bit. So I think it skewed my thinking a little bit, but Denny's still excellent year. He can be a little hard to watch at times, but when he has the ball in his right hand, which we saw in that Phoenix Suns game, there he is very difficult to stop. And he is definitely going to be probably a multi-time All-Star, I would hope, because I think Portland's going to be really good next year with Dame coming back, and then you got Denny playing like how he is right now. It's going to be fun to watch this Portland Trailblazers team going forward, but I did give Denny the third place vote. Second place vote went to my guy, Big Duran, JD. Jalen Duran is my second place vote. Jumped from 11 points per game to 20 this year. His rebounds are about the same, but the defensive side of the ball, he got better. Number one seed in the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons. When Cade Cunningham wasn't there, Jalen Duran was still showing up. They are a dynamic duo in Detroit, but Duran isn't like a one way kind of guy. He doesn't just need Cade Cunningham there to be great. Jalen Duran is a beast. He just at times he just gets the ball in the paint and he just rises up and dunks on somebody. That's what you love to see from a center. He is a little undersized, but Jalen Duran, he's sneaking into those top five conversations for centers in the NBA this year. I think um, he had an excellent year, first time All Star. Continues to grow on the offensive side of the ball. We've seen this year he was taking the ball up, um, kind of getting the ball off of a missed shot, rebounding it, and just kind of pushing it in transition. I like to see the growth of Jalen Duran's game. We've kind of always seen that he does have a little bit of a handle, but the fact that JB and the Pistons have confidence in him to kind of just push the pace a little bit, that's great to see. And Jalen Duran, he he's excellent. There's just nothing to shy away from that. But the first place vote for MIP is Nickeil Alexander Walker. 9 points per game to 20 points per game. One of the biggest leaps we've ever seen in NBA history. This dude and Jalen Johnson, who is also in the conversations for MIP, is the reason why this Atlanta Hawks team felt the confidence to move on from Trae Young, their all star, their face of the franchise guy, and move into a new direction. And they're sitting at the sixth seed in the playoffs because of the way that Nickeil Alexander Walker's been playing all season long. We've seen flashes at every stop. New Orleans, Utah, the last couple of years in Minnesota, we've seen the signs of Nickeil Alexander Walker possibly having a scoring output that he wasn't able to see because of the limited minutes he was getting. He got to Atlanta. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I did not expect this dude to come in and average 20 points per game. I saw a possibility of jumping from like 9 to 12, uh, and still be an elite defender, which he is. That's the biggest thing on why I kept him at number one. The offensive output is astronomical. He continues to grow on the offensive end. The defensive side of the ball has not slipped up at all for Nickeil Alexander Walker. That's huge for this team going forward. Huge for this team in the playoffs, which I do think could surprise some people, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Nickeil, I mean, just he's showing that some of the things that we see from Shea, his cousin, kind of see with Nickeil as well. And there's a possibility that Nickeil becomes just a consistent 17, 18, maybe even 20 point per game scorer because this Hawks team, they need scoring. Obviously, Nickeil does thrive in the push and transition, shoot at will kind of offense that Quinn Snyder has implemented in Atlanta. But man, this Atlanta Hawks team is great. And Nickeil Alexander Walker, he's the epitome of an MIP season, jumping from 9 to 20. Now moving on to the last player award, clutch player of the year. My third place vote goes to Jamal Murray. I was between Jamal and Jokic for the third place vote. I do think Jokic is better in the clutch, to be honest, because he just does everything. He scores, he rebounds, he passes. If there's anybody in the world that you want the ball in their hands at the end of the game, outside of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I think it's Nikola Jokic, and I would personally go with Nikola Jokic. I went with two people instead of Nikola Jokic just because I think they both deserve some highlight and to be in the award conversation. So I went with Jamal Murray. He's been playoff Murray all season long, which we've seen, which is great for this Nuggets team going forward. And obviously, they have their defensive woes at times, but the fact that Jamal Murray's playing at this level all season long just gets me even more hyped to watch this team in the playoffs. Hopefully, it doesn't switch and we see that Jamal Murray kind of is a shell of himself in the playoffs of what we expect, but he's one of those guys that's like there's elite players that are always just elite, especially in the clutch, like Shea, like a Jordan, like LeBron even. But then there's some good to great players that when they're in the clutch, they become elite. That's Jamal Murray. So third place vote goes to Jamal Murray. I really was between flip-flopping him and Tyrese Maxey, who I gave the second place vote to. The Sixers were just in so many clutch games, honestly, and that's why I went with Tyrese. Um, Again, it looks good because a couple nights ago, Tyrese was kind of the reason why they pulled away at the end against the Magic in the first playing game for them. But Tyrese, he's been excellent all year long. They really struggled without him in the clutch, so that's why I went with him over Jamal Murray, just because when we saw no Tyrese Maxey on the floor for this Sixers team, they were kind of horrendous in the clutch. Whereas with Jamal Murray, you still got Nikola Jokic on your team. You still got Eric Gordon on your team, so it's always a big boost having him. But Tyrese, again, early on in the season, he's been in conversation for Clutch Player of the Year. But number one goes to the man, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's going to win 2 awards on my ballot. I think he's going to win 2 awards this year in the awards in the award ceremony. Shai, again, leads the league in clutch points per game. This man just, he thrives in the clutch. He doesn't turn the ball over like he does consistently, anyways. So the fact that we still have him in the clutch being dominant, we have not seen a guy like this in a long time. That he is elite throughout the game, no matter what time of the game. Whenever you need a bucket, you go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and if he gets to his midi, it's over for you. Shai is my clutch player of the year. Now moving on to coach of the year. This one, in my opinion, is the hardest award to pick from because all three people on my ballot deserve the award, and I wish I could give them the award, but I had to make decisions. So at the 3 spot, I went with Mitch Johnson. I want to give Mitch Johnson this award. I want to give JB Bickerstaff this award. I want to give Joe Mazzulla this award. All three of them deserve this award, in my opinion. This is the hardest year for Coach of the Year, in my opinion. I went with Mitch at the 3. Mitch, first full year, taking over after the legendary Greg Popovich, 2 seed in the Western Conference. Victor Wembanyama, MVP level player. Stephon Castle, one of the best two-way players in the world. Dylan Harper in his rookie years making impacts. Carter Bryant making impacts. He's just a great coach. And he's just overshadowed because JB Bickerstaff, who's my second place vote, number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference Detroit Pistons, with the turnaround that JB has done all season long, or in his past 2 years in Detroit. This team just a couple years ago was 2-26 on a 25 game losing streak or whatever it was, and now they are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. He has them winning games without Cade Cunningham on the floor. This team doesn't really have a second pure scorer. They don't have a secondary playmaker. That's Dennis Jenkins, who again also could be in MIP conversations, but JB has instilled a new culture back to Detroit, and that's what I love to see. But the first place vote, in my opinion, I had to give it to Joe Mazzulla. This team is 56-26. Jaylen Brown's playing like an MVP level player. He's going to be on the All NBA first team. They just got Tatum back a month and a half ago. Peyton, this the same thing you could say for JB, for Mitch. Joe Mazzulla is also doing it, but he's doing it without his star player all season long, other than Jaylen Brown. They lost KP, they lost Al Horford, they lost Drew Holiday. All those guys left in the offseason. And he had Anthony Simons looking great. Josh Minot for the first month of the year was looking excellent. Jordan Walsh is looking really good. Jason Tatum came back, and it's like Jason Tatum's back. Like, if there wasn't really any signs of like this dude just came off a torn Achilles. This team is excellent. I do think they are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. But man, Boston is just so good. It's tough to pick against Joe Mazzulla, but like I said, all three of these guys truly do deserve this award. Um, but it's tough. It's tough, honestly. I just went with Joe Mazzulla because I think out of 2 others, he did the most with the least. So I'm gonna give it to Joe Mazzulla, but I am not offended if you pick JB. I'm not offended if you pick Mitch. I picked JB last year. I wanted to give it to him again this year because he didn't win it last year, but I just couldn't do it. I had to give it to Joe Mazzulla. And now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here on RDSE to talk about the playing games that happened and to talk about the first round of the playoffs. Playoff basketball is here, baby. Let's go. We'll be right back. This has been Beyond the Scoreboard, presented by RDSE, and I'm your host, Michael Lyons. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard presented by RDSC. And as you know, I'm your host, Michael Lyons. And like I said before we went to that quick commercial break, play-in basketball is here. We're going to talk about these first couple games of the play-in that already happened. And we started off with a banger. This gets me so hyped for playoff basketball this year. The first game of the play-in was an overtime thriller with clutch shots down the stretch, with guys balling out, and it ended with a Charlotte Hornets 127 to 126 victory over the Miami Heat. Elias, I know you're out there listening. I know you wanted the Heat to lose, but man, was that a great game. And arguably, the Heat should have won this game. But Charlotte, they handled business when it mattered most. Obviously, this game gets a little asterisk next to it because of the Bam Adebayo going down early, which, in my opinion, so many people are talking about it. If you want to hear other people talk about it, go listen to them talk about it. I'm not going to talk about what happened. So we're just going to focus on what happened in this game outside of that. Kobe White is back. Kobe White is playoff playing Kobe White. April Kobe White balling out for the Hornets. He's Mr. Playing, Elias. He's Mr. Playing. Not Eric Spoelstra. It's Kobe White is Mr. Playing. But a huge shot down the stretch to send the game into overtime from Kobe White, and then in overtime, LaMelo kind of took over, but also kind of tried to give the game away. It was an insane game, honestly. This is why I want to see the Charlotte Hornets team in the playoffs because you get moments where Kobe White hits a game tying three to send it to overtime, and then you got LaMelo turning it over in the backcourt, then following Tyler Hero on a 3-point shot that should have probably won them the game. Then he comes down and he hits a layup, and then Miles Bridges blocks it on the other end. Crazy, crazy game. Shout out to shout out to Davion Mitchell, man. Miss you in Sacramento off night. Man, Vivek, count your days, buddy. Count your days. But man, this game was spectacular. Shout out to the Hornets. Shout out to the Heat who played excellent this game. Um, truly think they are the second best team in the entire play in the Eastern Conference, behind the Hornets. So sucks that they had to play them in the first game, but Charlotte's going to be battling against the Magic tonight, so hopefully the Charlotte Hornets can move on and we can see this insane young core battle against the Detroit Pistons in the first round of the playoffs. If I had to grade this game as a play-in game, this might be the one of the best games the play-in has ever seen, honestly. Uh, the only thing I can think of, like the LeBron, I saw three rims game in that game winner that he had, but last year's playing games, I can't remember a game that was better than this. Um, but then even like the play-in was so good so far that it makes me worried that the two games tonight aren't going to be good because after this Hornets game, we then switch over to the Trailblazers game where you got Denny Avdia dropping 41. You got Jeremy Grant hitting big shots in the corner down the stretch. You got Drew Holiday showing that age is just a number for him because 35 years old, Drew Holiday is still hooping. And then you got Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. The best thing that this play-in has showed me is that the teams in the play-in actually care about making the playoffs. We're seeing a little bit of bad blood, a little bit of animosity in these games. That's what I love about playoff basketball, and that's why I think play-in basketball was implemented. We haven't really seen that over the last couple of years. And this year, really, we've seen it. Danny Avdia was going at Dylan Brooks. Got Dylan Brooks getting a tech. You got even in the Philly Orlando game, you got Paolo getting a tech. You got not Jalen Suggs, Kelly Oubre getting a tech. You got Desmond Bain getting a tech. You got VJ getting a tech. it's just great for basketball when we have guys that don't like each other going up against each other in games. And this Portland game against Phoenix, another spectacular game, late night game. Had to stay up for it, but it was definitely worth staying up for it. Shaded Sharp showed up for the Trailblazers. Dylan Brooks showed up for the Suns. Jalen Green, 35 points for the man. Devin Booker, though, honestly, a little disappointing down the stretch of the game. Didn't seem like he really wanted the ball in the clutch. Didn't look great in the clutch. Only 22 points on 7 for 17 shooting, 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, and some key missed free throws in this game. Suns just kind of got outplayed at the end by Portland. And when you saw that man, Denny Avdia, get a little bit of momentum in that right hand, it was a bucket every single time, and he was letting them know about it. This Portland team going up against San Antonio in the first round is going to be a fun matchup. Might not be a long, fun matchup, but I think it's going to be some fun games in this series. Shout out to Portland for taking care of business, though. Then moving on to the Wednesday night games. The first game, honestly, was, if you want to call a stinker game, it was this game. Nobody on the Magic showed up other than Desmond Bane. Paolo had 18 points, 7 for 22 shooting. Franz still coming back from his injury, so I'm not gonna clown on him too much. Jalen Suggs, 1 for 9 shooting, 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. Anthony Black had a solid game, 13.6 rebounds, 3 assists off the bench. Orlando, this game really summed up the Orlando season, especially at the very end. Jamal Mosley looking pissed on the sideline. Franz getting injured at the very end of the game by running into his own teammate, and Andre Drummond hitting 2 3-pointers in this game to move on and push them to a win or go home game for this Orlando Magic season. That sums up this entire Orlando Magic season in a whole. Shout out to Andre Drummond, though. 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line, 5 for 8 from the field. Never in my life would I have thought that I would ever see in a world where Andre Drummond is hitting a big time three down the stretch of a game to ice it. That happened in this game. Shout out to him, though. He balled out. Tyrese Maxey in the clutch, a clutch player of the year. Tyrese Maxey, he showed up. VJ in his first ever postseason experience, 19 points, 7 for 16 shooting. Again, Paul George slowly getting back to PG that we expect, playing P. Uh, again, this game was kind of a stinker out of all the games, but I do believe that this Philly team did show some light, and they could definitely give Boston a couple games, I think. Then moving on to the last game that we've had of the play-in so far, Golden State versus the Clippers. Noah Telford's in the studio right now. Um, are one of our resident Warriors fans, but uh, I personally believe that this was a little bit of highway robbery at the end of this game by the Golden State Warriors and the refs against the Clippers. This Clippers team, they balled out. I'm not gonna lie. Kawhi, 21 points. He was kind of quiet in the second half. We'll get to that in a second. Darius Garland, 21 points. This dude had 5 fouls at the end of the third quarter and didn't foul out until like 2 or 3 minutes left in the fourth. So shout out to him. Benedict Mathurin off the bench. I just personally wanted to see this Clippers team move forward. I don't trust this Warriors team to make a series with the Thunder whatsoever. Obviously, Steph Curry is always going to be fun to watch. I just would not that I'd rather watch Kawhi, but I think Kawhi against the Thunder could give them a little bit more fits. Shout out to the Warriors, though. I mean, Al Horford, 4 big time threes at the end of this game. Insane. Gui Santos showed up. Draymond had that big time steal at the end of the game. I'm gonna share my thoughts on Draymond. I think he was hacking. all game against Kawhi. And I know Kawhi went into the media after the game and was like, I was going against a Hall of Fame center or a Hall of Fame defender. Draymond just played better than nah. Draymond was hacking. Kawhi is not the one to get frustrated. Kawhi does not show his emotions a lot. He was getting frustrated in this game with the refs. Um, Curry obviously dealt with the same treatment, and Curry 35 points. This Warriors team though, they're just so banged up. Kristaps rolled his ankle at one point in this game. Curry went to the locker room twice. Abe was supposed to be on a minutes restriction. Draymond hurt his knee late in this game. Brandon Pozenski, 41 minutes. I don't know why this dude's playing 41 minutes because he arguably one of the worst players in the NBA in my opinion. But shout out to the Warriors. They did what they needed to do. And the rich continue to get richer because now that the Clippers are eliminated from playoff contention, they are in the lottery, and that means that the Oklahoma City Thunder have a 7% chance at getting a top four pick, I believe. So shout out to the Warriors, maybe giving the Thunder another lottery pick. Tonight, Charlotte versus Orlando is the first game. Charlotte, lock in. I don't want to see Orlando in the first round again this year. Orlando has yet to get out of the first round, and this is not the year that they're going to make it. They make the playoffs. I bet there's a chance that ownership's like, oh, maybe we should just bring back Jamal Mosley. Maybe we should make another move. No, make a move. Jamal Mosley needs to be gone. Whatever. Charlotte, lock in. We need to see Charlotte versus Detroit in the first round of the playoffs. Late night game, Golden State versus Phoenix. This is going to be another good game, honestly. Curry just coming off a 35-point game. I personally would rather see the Suns make it in the playoffs because I would rather watch Dylan Brooks in this Phoenix Suns team with Devin Booker and Jalen Green go against this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They got some more size that they can match up well with the Thunder, but honestly, I think the Warriors might take the game tonight. I think having Curry on this heater going into this game and having a chance to do it again comes with a lot of momentum, and the Phoenix Suns kind of closed out that game against the Trailblazers with little momentum at all. So I do think Golden State might win this game, but I'm hoping that Phoenix can pull it out. Dylan Brooks versus Draymond. Again, we're going to see some more bad blood, which I love to see. Now moving on to the first round reactions, things to watch out for prior to our next show next week. Starting off with the Thunder versus the Suns or the Warriors. This game is going to be it. Arguably, probably a sweep. I think if the Warriors get in, it's going to be a sweep. I think if the Suns get in, there's a chance that they maybe get a gentleman's sweep 4-1. OKC is just too good. Unless Shea goes down with an injury, which, knock on wood, that does not happen. This is going to be a pretty light series for this Oklahoma City Thunder team, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens, but I think OKC is going to take care of business in this series. Moving on, Lakers Rockets. We have not yet gotten word of what's going to happen with Luka Doncic. I'm just checking, make sure I didn't miss any notifications. I did not. So we still have not got word about Luka Doncic and his availability for this series against the Rockets. I think the Rockets are going to take care of business. I truly think they just have too many athletes, honestly. I think this could be a big series for Amen Thompson. I think this could be a big series for Tari Eason. Even bigger series for a guy like Reed Shepherd. Watch him in this series to ball out against this Lakers team that plays very little defense. And the fact that he is a second year guy, he is going to get a lot of looks because they're going to send a lot of guys at Şengün. They're going to send a lot of guys at KD. This is going to be perfect for Reed Shepherd to go electric from beyond the arc against this Lakers team. I think the Rockets are going to take this series in. They got to take care of their business early because if Luka does come back, there's a chance that he does. Probably won't be till like game four, game five, maybe. So I think this first two games, if the Rockets could go up 2-0, I think they can easily take care of business against this Lakers team. Moving on to the Nuggets Timberwolves series, I think the Nuggets are going to take this series. Um, but I don't want to count out Minnesota. I've done it the last 2 years in my honestly, and they both years have made runs to the conference finals. This is going to be a big series for Anthony Edwards. Um, I don't look at anybody on Denver to really give him fits on the defensive side. It's also going to be a big series. If the Timberwolves want to move on, it's going to be a lot of Julius Randle dominating down low against Aaron Gordon. And then for the Nuggets, Cam Johnson, if he can consistently hit his threes, um, honestly, just everybody. Tim Hardaway Jr., I think, is going to be an X factor in this series, honestly. So watch out for Cam Johnson. Watch out for Tim Hardaway Jr. Watch out for even a guy like Christian Brown to really show who they are in this series. And those are the guys that really propel this team forward uh, against the Timberwolves. And then moving on, ending off the Western Conference, San Antonio versus Portland. This is going to be a quick series, I think, but I do think all these games are going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if this game could go to six, honestly, or this series could go to six. I think it will probably be a gentleman's sweep, or a sweep by the Spurs, but I do think all these games are going to be close. The only thing that scares me is Denny Avdia thrives in the paint. We saw it last a couple nights ago when going against the Suns, he was dominating in the paint. They are now going against the defensive player of the year, the best defender in the world, the guy that X's out all of interior offense. Denny's gonna struggle against Victor Wembanyama in this series, so that's gonna be huge. I do think the way that they win a game or two comes off of a guy like Donovan Clingan being able to stretch the floor, and knocking down his threes consistently. Again, Victor Wembanyama is just so versatile and so electric on the defensive side that he can cover so much ground. So I don't know if it's really going to matter that much. That's really why I'm going with the Spurs to probably end the series in 5 games. Next up, Pistons, Magic, or Hornets. Hopefully it's the Hornets. If it's the Magic, it's going to be a 4-0 sweep by the Pistons. If it's the Hornets, though, this is going to be a fun series. There's going to be a lot of bad blood there. We've already seen it in the regular season. Detroit just needs to handle business. If they can get out of this 4, 5, maybe 6 games, it's really going to be fun to watch. Honestly, Charlotte, one of the hottest offenses in the league. They are battling against one of the best defensive teams in the league in the Detroit Pistons, who have kind of shut the water off in the regular season in the games that they did play. So I do think Detroit's going to handle business, but I do think these games are going to be fun to watch. Could be the most electric first round in the playoffs this year. Next up, the Cavs versus the Raptors. Like I said earlier, I think this is a big series for a guy like Scotty Barnes to show how great he is. I think he's going to do that. Cleveland just got too many weapons. Scotty and Brandon Ingram are really going to have to carry this team to beat this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I just think Donovan Mitchell, we've seen it in the last couple of years, 50 balls in the first round, 40 balls in the first round. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to win this Cavs, to get the Cavs this series. I think the size of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen is going to cause a lot of disruption to this Toronto Raptors offense, and they're just going to dominate the boards against this team. I do think it's going to be a big series for a guy like Keon Ellis, guy like Max Strus, the Paul legend. I think he's going to also have a big series for this Cavs team. And if it's the Raptors moving on, it's going to be on the back of Scotty Barnes. Moving on to the 3-6 matchup, the Knicks versus the Hawks. Daniel Urlacher, if you're listening to this, you might want to cover your ears. I think Atlanta might win this series, honestly. The more that I think about it, the more that I like this Atlanta Hawks team, the more that I look at the matchups that they have, I'm leaning towards the Hawks being able to take this series. Maybe we'll get some F. Trey Young chants in the crowd still, even though he's not on this team. We've seen in the past, Atlanta fans and New York fans, they don't like each other. This is going to be a fun series. I think I'm going with Atlanta just because Dyson Daniels, he might not give you a lot on the offensive end, but man, is he a great defender. Man, is he going to disrupt this Knicks offense and Jalen Brunson especially. And if it's not Dyson Daniels that gets that matchup, it's going to be Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's just as good. So I don't look at anybody on this Knicks team. OG is great on the defensive end, but Jalen Johnson, this is going to be a big series for him. If the Hawks pull out this series, it's going to be in large part to Dyson Daniels' defense and Jalen Johnson being able to dominate against OG and McHale. And if the Knicks pull off this series, I think it's going to come off the back of Karl Anthony Towns playing like he did last year against the Pacers in a couple of those games where he's three dribble, dunking, postering Andrew Nemhard and everything. And then the final series, just to end the show really quick, Celtics Sixers. I think it's going to be a kind of a quick series. I'm going to go 4-2. Nah, 4-1 Boston. They're too good. They're just gonna overpower this Philly team, especially if Joel Embiid doesn't play. Knicks Hawks though, that's gonna be a 7 game series. And I'm picking Atlanta to win that series. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. This has been Beyond the Scoreboard, presented by RDSC, and I'm your host, Michael Lyons.